All right, guys, welcome back to Frugal Homestead. So look at this. Oh my gosh. So yesterday, about 2 o'clock, we started really getting pounded. It'd been raining all day, but it started to convert to ice and started to freeze the things. We ended up getting somewhere around 3/4 to 1 inch of ice. Then throughout the night, it changed over to sleet, and it just laid hard packed sleet everywhere here on the homestead. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, as you can see now this morning, it started snowing. The worst part of all this though, and the thing I want to talk about in this video, is being prepared, because I took the day before to lightly prepare. Now, we're not one of those people that keep generators and stuff like that around, because we've been doing this for years and we found easy ways to get around it. Now, some things on our homestead are set up really good for this kind of thing, some are not. So let's go over what's going on and how we deal with this weather, because the power went out yesterday and everything changes on your homestead when you don't have power. All right, guys, I know it's kind of windy, but bear with me here. These are transmission lines, main ones that run the area. But what we have is, over top of that hill, some pine trees fell down on the transmission line. And then over top of that hill, you can just barely make out the second set there. There's power lines there, have a pine tree leaned in on them way out there. Luckily, this area here is clean. Here is our household lines, more like what you'd be normally seeing on roads and stuff. You can see how ice covered they are, and of course they're singing a beautiful song right now if you can listen closely. The current planned wait time is going to be about 48 to about 56 hours before they can repair it. Now, our section that we're on, only 56 customers are out of service right now. So we're going to be last on the list. They're going to do the areas that have the most people out. But what we do, because we've done this for years, is I will come to my truck and make sure it has a full tank of gas and spare gas. And then, just to have the basic creature comforts like charging your cell phone, I actually have 2 LED lamps and then 1 Roku TV that only uses 18 watts. By having all these low power items, I can run them off my truck. Let me show you how. Okay guys, bear with me because the truck's a mess as usual. So here's how I run everything off my truck. This is a super old 150 watt power inverter. Now, the reason why I didn't get a bigger one, because this is what everybody I know asks me, is a 150 watt power inverter, when this truck is idling, will not get the battery level lower than what the alternator can keep up with, because I have a high amperage alternator in here. It just plugs in the cigarette lighter. There's nothing special. Goes out to an extension cord, which I just close in the door and send into the house. So I just start the truck, plug this in, let it sit here and idle. It's not a problem. We actually did this for about 8 hours last night, and it only used, as you can see, just over a 1/4 tank gas. Now that said, most people would say, well, you could use a generator and use way less power. My dad has multiple generators. My neighbors have multiple generators. I can hear them running all around me. Now, there's a lot of benefits to having a generator, but there's also maintenance, upkeep, the cost of buying it. We've been doing it this way. That same inverter's been with us for like 11 years, guys. One time we actually ran out of power for like 7 to 10 days, probably 10 years ago, and that thing just ran non-stop. We just kept pouring gas in the truck we had at the time and running it off of it. So it's a solution that is maybe not as much gas effective, but based on how many times a year this happens, I'll never use enough gas to make up for buying, say, a $1,000 generator. So I know a lot of you will say, well, there's better ways and you can have more things on your house. We're pretty good with how we have it. Now, let's go look at the heating sources. All right, so we've got our wood burner here. Most of you have seen this before. But what you have to understand about our wood burner is it actually has a blower built into the back that blows the heat. All these lines go under the house and up through the old ductwork from the furnace. But we have this one line right here, and that's an overhead line that actually goes out that wall and in through the wall of the house. This allows heat to rise naturally and cycle the system through the return air. So when the power's out, there's actually a setting called EPF. You got to turn it down below that, that way your wood burner doesn't overheat. But the actual heat will go in the plenum up and self-run through the system. We do keep the fire very down-stoked. This is not our main heating source when things like this happen, but it does solve the problem. Now inside, when this happens, we have two main sources of heat. One is a kerosene heater, one of the square kinds. Now that will burn on about 1.5 gallons of gas is what that tank holds of kerosene. It will burn for about 16 hours the way I run it in there. If it gets super cold, that cuts down to 10 hours running full tilt. So if I have 5 or 10 gallons of kerosene sitting around here, I could be good for days on end. And I could stretch that even more if I wanted to push the wood burn a little more and then back off the kerosene some. Now also, and this is our last way, and this is more for when like the power goes out in the fall and we don't want to kick the kerosene or the wood burner on because it'd make it too hot, is Missy has a lot of the old big oil lanterns and she fills them with kerosene. So what that does is it allows it to put out a little bit of heat plus the benefit of the light from it to allow us to warm up a smaller room. Now we do close off our bedroom and then leave the bathroom doors open and basically congregate into the living room. That allows us to keep the dogs and us in a smaller environment, which makes it way easier to control the environmental temperature. Now the next thing we need to discuss is water. Now, you could have a giant, huge generator to run a well, but it's gonna stress it because I've got a 300-foot well, 220, high amperage, it hits hard. But generally speaking, if I can get prepared, I don't need it. Now, even times when we're not prepared, we got the kerosene heater and the wood burner going, we can melt snow or ice if it's available. We do live on top of a hill, so we don't have like a stream to go to or anything. But as I said, it rained all day, so I was able to prepare the day before for this. So come in here, and as you can see, we have buckets, trash cans. Now this is not drinking water. This water is for flushing toilets. So when your well's shut down, you're gonna have to go potty. I mean, it is what it is. So by having this here, we can take it in and flush it down the toilet. Now, a lot of people will do this in their bathtubs. We've got stopper style bathtubs, so they tend to not hold water as well. That's why we don't do it that way. Now, I do have other trash cans that were set out that are top frozen over, but all I gotta do is take the back of a hatchet and I've got another 55 or 100 gallons of water. Now, this same water can be taken in because it's rainwater and run through our backpacking filter, which if you guys don't know, we have a backpacking channel and we can run that through that Sawyer backpacking filter to make it drinkable. Now, with us having the backpacking channel, we also have all the gear to cook with, like tabs, gas canisters, all kinds of things. And actually this year, our son Shane and his wife Cassie bought us a percolator, the old style, and we set that on top of the camp stove and made coffee this morning. So that was nice. But as you can see, our system is not extravagant, it is not expensive, it just works, right? It doesn't always have to be you have to invest $3,000 in all these backups. It's good. If you can do it and you are happy and that's what makes you happy, that's fine. But I basically turn the hotspot on our visible phones, which is unlimited. Turn that on, turn on the TV. We get to watch, whatever we want on Roku TV. We can watch the news. We can know what's going on. We can turn on radios. We can play cards. We have lights. It's a very simple system that anyone can do. And if you live in the middle of the city and you've got a vehicle, grab you a little power inverter, have it in there. That little $30, $40 cost will pay itself off. I promise you it'll pay itself off in one storm. Now, with that said, I have shoveling to do. I have so much to do here to get ready for, you know, the melt, because I have to control all this water. And right now, I don't honestly know that we can even get into any of our vehicles other than my truck because they're all iced over. So we're getting down to 7 degrees tonight. Tomorrow night, -5 degrees. Technically, they're not supposed to get the power back on until tomorrow night at about 11 p.m. So currently, I've got to get myself all organized, get us ready, bring some more wood in, and everything else that goes with this. But I appreciate you guys coming along. Let me know your storm setups. I'm sure some of you have some amazing ideas and setups. I would love to hear about them down in the comments. Let me know how you're weathering this nice little Arctic blast, because I'm pretty sure it like covered the entire US in a line and is just tearing sideways. Some people are getting cold temperatures, some people are getting snow, ice. I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're all staying warm. I hope you're taking care of your family and your neighbors and your pets. And we will see you guys in the next one.